Loosenappa, the middle's put his head in front. Better Loosenappa's won for Australia. Better Loosenappa's won the Japan Cup.
皆さんこんにちは、ウダブです。英語でジャパンカッププレビュー、頑張るぞ。G'day World Wide Web, Ludab with the world's most best English language Japan Cup preview. In recent years I've been providing you with 2 videos in the lead up to the Japan Cup, but this year I've decided to cram it all into one award-winning video. Every single runner and all the important race replays. Well, a very exciting Japan Cup is headed our way, and if the European challenger this time, Calandagan, if he can't take away the prize this year, well, it may just be up to us Aussies to send over half yours and show the rest of the world how it's done.
Let's now take a look at this year's Japan Cup field, and the shocking news for favourite backers is that Masquerade Ball will jump from gate 15. Number 2 is Croix Du Nord, the Derby winner this year. I'll be watching if there's money for him. He's currently second pick at $5.80 on Japanese website Netcaber. Then there's Danon Decile, a proven Group 1 performer, but he's like Masquerade Ball, starting out wide from barrier 14. And here's your weather forecast for Tokyo. As per usual, at this time of year, it's looking very dry. Just a 3% chance of rain on Saturday and 0 on Sunday. Now let's look at some key lead-up races, and well, the Tenno Show Autumn has provided us with a phenomenal 11 of the last 18 winners. And an important note is that these aren't necessarily Tenno Show Autumn Japan Cup double winners. It's the Tenno Show Autumn being used as the race prior to the Japan Cup victory. The next best race has been the Kyoto Daishoten with 3 of the last 18 winners. We have 1st, 2nd and 4th from this year's Kyoto Daishoten competing in the Japan Cup. There are none from the Shuka Show and the Kikka Show. And we have 1 horse coming into the race off a run in the Copa Republica Argentina. That is Struve at very long odds. Now some more intel. Only 7 3-year-olds have won the Japan Cup in its 45-year history. 4 and 5-year-olds have dominated in the last 10 years, particularly males, but they are overrepresented in terms of runners per Japan Cup too. On the 3-year-olds that had won, Almond Eye and Gentle Donna, the 2 fillies, had come to the race via the Oaks and Shuka Show wins, while the colt Rose Kingdom was second in the Derby before a spell, then a win at Group 2 level over 2,400 metres and a second in the Japanese St. Ledger. Of all the trainers involved in this year's Japan Cup, only 2 have won the race previously. They are Yasuo Tomomichi and Yoshido Yahagi. Yahagi has Shin Emperor running, while Tomomichi has 2 runners, Admire Terra and Yoho Lake. What about these barrier statistics? 9 of the last 10 winners have jumped from gate 6 or lower. Justin Palace, the 6-year-old, is back again. He hasn't won since his Tenno Show spring win of 2023. That's a 2-mile race. So he's gone 12 starts without a win. On the bright side, he's never competed below Group 1 level in those 12 starts, and his last 2 starts have yielded 2 third placings. In fact, looking back through this period of defeat, he's only been beaten by more than 5 lengths on 2 occasions. Christian Demuro is on board. He's ridden him twice before for a 2nd and a 5th. Croix Du Nord, the 3-year-old, the Derby winner of 2025. He beat the Japan Cup favourite Masquerade Ball in the Derby. He had his colours lowered when 14th in the Arc. The question is, can he bounce back? Of all the major contenders, Croix Du Nord has the best gait, and he races on the pace, making his own luck. His trainer is relatively young for this game, but he's had a few handy types in Chronogenesis and Geraldina. A bet on Croix Du Nord is as much a bet on the trainer as it is the horse. Cosmo Kuranda. This 4-year-old comes from the same 3-year-old crop as Danon Decile. I had a place bet on him in the Derby of 2024. I was actually on track that day. He finished 6th in the Derby. Since then, he's had 8 starts for 0 wins. 3 of those 8 starts were at Group 1 level, and he couldn't do better than 8th. Deep Monster, a 7-year-old. He's in career best form with that Kyoto Daishoten win in October. And he's also got a decent barrier. He should settle in a handy position, but it would be a big shock for this guy to win. He hasn't done much Group 1 racing. They did race him in all those blue ribbon races for 3-year-olds back in 2021, but he couldn't manage better than 5th. So here's the Group 2 Kyoto Daishoten. The runners of interest are Sunrise Earth in purple and white, Deep Monster in the black with the green hoop. He's away pretty smartly. And then there's Admire Terra in white with blue and light blue. He's a little behind the pace and settles midfield, just outside the eventual winner, Deep Monster. There was no English commentary here, unfortunately, and we're going to skip through the middle stages of the race and catch them again at the turn into the straight. Okay, it's still Sunrise Earth in front, and as they corner, Admire Terra is making his run. He's been 4 wide for some time, but Deep Monster in the black is getting a dream run along the rails. An impressive burst, but do keep in mind it was rated a good track as opposed to the regular firm.
あー内枠だ。あ、ディープモンスターだ。358
Sunrise Earth, another 4-year-old. I tipped him in this year's Tenno Show Spring, but he could only manage 4th. His most recent run was 2nd in the Group 2 Kyoto Daishoten, where he led for most of the trip and fought on doggedly for a gritty 2nd. He may be the horse that causes a blowout in exotic bets. Not a big fan of the jockey though. O Biscuits, the 5-year-old, has had quite a lot of racing for a Japanese horse, and the entry in the Japan Cup was a bit of a surprise to me, as he hasn't raced beyond 2,000 metres since his 6th place in the 2023 Japan Derby. O Biscuits often makes the pace. Perhaps the plan was to get to the lead and put the brakes on, but there are a few horses like Sunrise Earth just inside him that won't want a slow pace. Danon Beluga, one of the 2 Noriyuki Hori trained runners, along with Tastiera, but sadly for connections, he's in career worst form. Danon Beluga hasn't won since his 3-year-old season, and he's not winning here. Calandagan, a 4-year-old gelding trained by Francis Henri Graffard. Graffard was here last year with Goliath, and his hopes were thwarted though by the rare slow pace of last year's Japan Cup. Calandagan, you would argue, is a better horse. His most recent win was in October in the 2,000 metre British Champions Stakes. Prior to that, it was a 1-length victory in the King George over 2,400 metres. That's Europe's most prestigious 1.5-mile race for non-mudlarks. He gets another tick of approval for his 2nd in this year's Dubai Sheema Classic, though perhaps tellingly finishing 1.25 lengths behind Danon Decile. Now we go to a replay of the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth back in July this year. Calandagan wears the green.
It looks slow. Jan Bruegel is right with him, his stable companion. Then Rebels Romance in the blue jacket on the inside. Kalpana is out wide, and the favourite Calandagan at the rear of the field. And Jan Bruegel it is who makes the running fractionally ahead of Continuous. The assumption was that Continuous would lead, but not so far. And they've crawled through the first couple of furlongs down the hill towards Swinley Bottom. Continuous keen on the outside of Jan Bruegel. Then Kampala, Rebels Romance, getting cover on the inside, and Calandagan at the rear of the field as they race on now towards the mile marker. Jan Bruegel and Ryan Moore on the inside of stable companion Continuous and Wayne Lawden, who won't settle. Rebels Romance and William Buick in 3rd. Kampala and Oshie Murphy in 4th place, and then Calandagan and Mikel Barcelona. Jan Bruegel going on now, horse that stays very well, and they're about to meet the rising ground inside the final 7 furlongs. Jan Bruegel from Continuous, Rebels Romance, Kalpana the filly, 2 lengths to the favourite Calandagan, and now they're racing on towards the final 6 furlongs. They've passed the 6 and they're heading on towards the 5 in the King George, and gradually Ryan Moore is winding it up. He's turning on the tap aboard Jan Bruegel. Still just a half length. 2 in second place, Continuous. Rebels Romance. Then on the outside, Kalpana, and still Mikel Barcelona waits. He waits and waits on Calandagan as they run now towards the final right-hand sweeping bend. Jan Bruegel, Moore just nudging away in front from Continuous, who still travels strongly in second. Rebels Romance, Kalpana, and a very patient ride on Calandagan, last of the 5. They're now homeward bound. He gets increasingly emanated on Jan Bruegel. Coming round them is the filly Kalpana. Between them, Continuous. Rebels Romance a little short of room and can't get through. Calandagan is stalking. Kalpana sets sail, outpaces Jan Bruegel. Calandagan coming after the filly. Kalpana has quickened up tremendously. Can Calandagan reel her in here? He's getting a bit closer inside the final furlong. Kalpana from Calandagan. Calandagan is a half length. Now it's just a neck. Now it's a nose, and the French horse goes on, and Calandagan wins the King George. Wall down, Kalpana.
Great win, and it deserves plenty of credit on account of the 3 or 4 length margin to Rebels Romance.
In guide to the Japan Cup circuit. The runners will start in the home straight and have a 350 to 400 metre dash to the first bend. From there it's 2 long arcing turns and onto the 525 metre home straight.
Seiun Hades jumping from gate 9. This 6-year-old was a runner in the same Japan Derby as Equinox and Dadus. He was 11th that day. Since then he hasn't set the world on fire, but he's won a couple of Group 3 races. So good luck to the connections. He's another runner that likes to be on the pace. Struve, one of only 2 geldings in the field. He's certainly used to the 1.5-mile trip, but whenever he's aimed up at Group 1 level, he's fallen well short. He was actually 10th in the Japan Cup last year with no excuses. Admire Terra. We saw this 4-year-old back in June winning the Group 2 Meguro Kinen. That race was a Caulfield Cup golden ticket race, but connections didn't take up the option. He returned to the track in October in the Group 2 Kyoto Daishoten, where he could only manage 4th. Though if you're looking for a reason to bet on the grey, the track was graded as good rather than the usual firm. His only other crack at Group 1 level was a 3rd in the Japanese St. Leger in October last year. Yoho Lake, the 7-year-old, is, along with Admire Terra, the other horse trained by Yasuo Tomomichi. Tomomichi trained last year's winner Do Deuce. But it's hard to imagine Yoho Lake winning this race. He did shock me when he won the Group 2 Kyoto Kinen back in February this year, and since then he's had 3 starts for 2 minor placings, with 1 dud of a run in the Group 1 Takarazuka Kinen. This is his first attempt at 2,400 metres. Brede Weg, the only female in the race, and unfortunately she's another horse in career worst form. It's hard to believe she was 4 wins from 6 earlier in her career. She's now 4 wins from 12, and in her last 6 starts, she hasn't managed even a placing. Danon Decile, the 4-year-old, has since his Derby win of 2024 not been back to the place of his most prestigious victory on home turf. This Sunday it's the same track and distance as the Derby. He's good odds if you consider he beat some of the world's best in Dubai in April, and his only other run since was the fail at York in the Juddmonte International. We've seen many Japanese horses fail in France or England, then come back to continue on their winning ways. Masquerade Ball. Well, he's won the most significant lead-up race, the Tenno Show Autumn, and against many of his Japan Cup rivals. This guy is a 3-year-old, and the big question for him is the 2,400 metres. He had a crack at it earlier this year and finished runner-up to Croix Du Nord in the Japan Derby. He's up against Croix Du Nord in the Japan Cup. And note that it was a pretty slow pace in the Tenno Show Autumn. He was able to run home his last 600 metres in a blistering 32.3 seconds. In the Japan Derby, he ran home his last 600 in 33.7 seconds, and conservatively, that's a difference of at least 7 lengths. Tenno Show Autumn. I've mentioned that the pace was a little slow in this race. Please keep an eye on the kilometres per hour gauge at the bottom right of the screen. It really slows down at the 18-second mark.
Tenno Show, Cosmo Kuranda commenced well, going forward to Kyoto Vols, and Meisho Tabadoo sweeps up. In behind them is Ho Biscuits, will jump into second place, will follow Meisho Tabadoo. Cosmo Kuranda the rail. Then wider out, moving on now is Tastiera, even wider out of Kyoto Vols. Back to the inside, Seoul Orions. Reefing and pulling is Queen's Walk. In between runners, Seiun Hades. Then comes Masquerade Ball. Followed back in the run, Museum Mile, Urban Chic, Brede Weg and Calandagan at the tail of the field. They run the back straight here at Tokyo. And in front, it's Meisho Tabadoo. Yutakatake leads them up. Running second is Ho Biscuits. Third, Cosmo Kuranda on a tight hold. Wider out is the Kyoto Vols. Tastiera with a run of the race in behind them. Back to the inside is Justin Palace. Wider out, moving on now is Queen's Walk. Then comes in behind them, the fence is Seoul Orions. Masquerade Ball, it's outside. A gap to Museum Mile, Urban Chic, Seiun Hades. Well back, Brede Weg, and last of all is the mare in Calandagan. The crowd roars as they go down the side. Compact field. Take trying to do it all the way on Meisho Tabadoo. High in the irons is Yasunari Iwata on Ho Biscuits. Goes forward now to eyeball Meisho Tabadoo and takes it on. Kyoto Vols is going there as well, just in behind them. Then comes Cosmo Kuranda. Tastiera's had the run in behind them with Damien Lane peeling out Queen's Walk. Back in on the fence is Justin Palace, and Masquerade Ball is now peeling out and running on as well. Here comes Tastiera. They've reached the 400 metre mark. Tastiera goes to the front, takes on Ho Biscuits. Meisho Tabadoo whacking away behind them. Masquerade Ball runs on. Queen's Walk, and starting to pick up down the middle of the track is Museum Mile. It's still in front, but here's Masquerade Ball, the favourite, goes past Tastiera. Museum Mile rattling home, and Justin Palace late. Meisho Tabadoo still there. They hit the wire. Masquerade Ball. He's done it again.
The Yoshido Hagi trained Shin Emperor, another 4-year-old Entire. He's actually bred in France, this guy. All of his racing this year has been overseas, starting off with a win in the Group 2 Neom Turf in Saudi, then falling short in the Dubai Sheema Classic, 7th behind Danon Decile, and more recently finishing 6th in the Irish Champion Stakes behind Delacroix. He was second in the Japan Cup last year after being a surprise leader until the midway point and turning the race into a bit of a sit and sprint affair. Durezza, the 5-year-old, surprised us last year with a close second when starting 7th favourite in the Japan Cup. His last 2 starts were below expectation, especially after a strong third to Danon Decile in the Dubai Sheema Classic. This guy, I believe, is suited to the 1.5 miles and could surprise with a minor placing. If you completely wipe those last 2 starts on account of the good rather than firm track. Just like last year's Japan Cup, they're using a foreign jockey, Alexei Puchin. Not quite William Buick, but Tastiera, the 5-year-old Entire, a Derby winner back in 2023. He had his first win since that Derby back in April while on tour in Hong Kong. More recently, he looked the winner in the Tenno Show Autumn, hitting the lead with 300 metres to go, but then fading for an eventual 8th place finish. Maybe that run wasn't as bad as it looked. He did run his last 600 metres in 33 seconds, so he wasn't dawdling. Aussie jockey Damien Lane will do the steering. I found the 2025 Japan Cup very hard to narrow down to just one horse, and in the end I've decided the best option is an exotic. I'm having a crack at a first 4. There's never really a big dividend just due to the small pool invested in the Japan Cup. And I'm going to take on the favourite by not including him as one of my first place picks. I'm going with Danon Decile and Croix Du Nord, and for second place I'm then including the other 2 popular horses, Calandagan and Masquerade Ball. For third, I'm adding Justin Palace. He will get an economical run from Barrier 1, and as a bit of a Hail Mary for the 4th placing, I'm hoping for a career best performance from Sunrise Earth. He could give us a really good dividend there. That would cost $27 for 50% of the dividend. Good luck and enjoy the Japan Cup.
Go to hell, New World Order.